Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 548. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is not with me, despite the fact that he was very, very ready to be with me and attempted his very best to be available to be with me today, even while on vacation. Unfortunately, I'm going to take full responsibility, throw it on my shoulders. It is my fault. My schedule just simply did not allow for us to connect, and we were going to do like a double remote thing. I am in Newtown, North Dakota, just west of Newtown, North Dakota, actually, at Four Bears Hotel and Casino. We have made it back out here again for CFFC 146. Beautiful, crisp, kind of fall weather setting in, right? It's in like I think the whole time we've been here at Fight Week, it's been like 73 degrees maximum at any time, which is gorgeous. Walk outside. I'm overlooking right now. I'm in my hotel room, kind of just seeing the beautiful river that's out there and the landscape. I mean, it is gorgeous out here. You know what I mean? Just rolling hills and buffalo winding around. A lot of oil too. There's a lot of oil wells out here, and the flames at the top, which give it a kind of a weird look at night, where you're kind of driving from the airport and you see the flames coming from the oil rigs off in the distance. But this place is cool, man. We brought James Lyons out here for the first time, who's part of Marquez MMA, has fought for CFFC, and is actually starting to pick up some of the matchmaking responsibilities. And it was his first trip out here, and right away he said the same thing that I always say. Like, you could feel the difference in the air. You could just – he's coming from the East Coast out in Philly base, and, man, you just feel it, right? It's like cleaner. It's I don't know. It's just something you can sense. So anyway, that's where I am. Meanwhile, Cold Coffee is in Wisconsin. And he's on a little family vacation. And when I say little family vacation, Cold Coffee, I mean, you would expect nothing less from an elite figure like Cold Coffee. But his family carries that elite level status as well. So they do things big. He is, he tries to lay it out as like, hey, just going to see some family, checking in with the siblings and bringing everybody together. We're cooking out a little bit and just, we're going to do a little fishing, hanging out. But first of all, he's been sending me some videos from his vacation, and I'll let him talk about that when he gets back. We'll get together next week, but he's been living the life out there. At first, they're out on the water, they're in the boat, and they're having a good time as well. Again, it looks beautiful up in Wisconsin as well. They're out there kind of in the rural areas of it. But he's been sending me these beautiful videos of, like, the water looking just flat as glass out there, and, they're hanging out and enjoying that. And then they also rented this really, really nice house. I'm anxious to hear about this, right? Because, I was talking to my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, what's Cold Coffee up to this week?" I'm like, "Oh, he's actually taking vacation. He's taking a little fishing trip out to Wisconsin, and the family's all together, gonna cook out and stuff." And my wife is not an outdoors woman, if you will. The idea of camping has never really appealed to her, which works out great because, to be honest with you, I'm kind of high maintenance too. Like, not that I mind camping so much, but I need to wake up and I need to have a shower first thing in the morning, and I need my conveniences, you know what I mean? So I'm not exactly a roughing it type guy either. So it works out good for me and my wife because neither one of us is really pushing for that type of trip. But anyway, my wife's like, "Boy, that just sounds terrible." And then Cold Coffee sends me the details of this house. It's like I think it's like a 6,000 square foot house or something like that. Like, they got this. I mean, it's a damn mansion out there in the woods that they found and they're utilizing for the week. So they're not exactly just roughing it out there. They had to set up their tents and that sort of thing and get ready. I mean, they're living in a little bit of luxury. I guess glamping is a dumb word, right? Like glamorous camping, because I guess they're not even camping really. They just found a really nice house out in the woods somewhere, and you get a little separation from society, and you can do whatever you want to do. So sounds like he's having a good time. But I do want to stress Cold Coffee, and I kept telling him, I'm like, "Bro, don't worry about it. I don't want you to have to like put your days on hold. You're on vacation, and you got to think about that. We've talked about that. When hopefully if you listen to us, and hopefully you're in the corporate world, you co-sign with that as well. It's like, man, you got to enjoy that vacation, and it's part of your compensation package. And it's, the older I get, the more I realize that, just completely burying yourself in work, while it'll help you move ahead, you still got to make time for everything else, for yourself, for the family, for all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So anyway, Cold Coffee's been great. He's been like, no, don't worry. We're hanging out. I can always carve out a few hours, et cetera, et cetera. But my schedule's been crazy, and I really didn't want to block out any of the schedule whatsoever. But also, it's just been absolutely nuts, and I I just haven't been able to give him a good time. And because I haven't been able to give him a good time, ultimately I just say, you know what, man, just keep doing your thing. When I find a pocket of time, I will sit down and I will make sure that I have a chance to speak to our wonderful audience and all the loyal people that have been great in supporting us over the years, because it's important to me. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's show day, by the way. All right, it's Friday morning here in Forebears. Myself and Dean Thomas are going on air for CFFC 146 here in a few hours. I still have some work to do, to be honest with you. I like to watch tape. Dean Thomas, love it, man. Consummate professional. He's watching tape on everybody, which is it's cool to see a guy at that level, man. I get a really, really good fortune of working with guys. Obviously CM Punk's schedule is a little bit busy right now. You guys know I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but I always tune in and make sure I know what CM Punk is doing, because he's just become a good friend over the years. And seeing his wife back in the mix, AJ Lee, I mean, how cool is that? You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, now I feel like I got to go back and study her history, because I really don't know anything about her as a wrestler. I remember hearing the name, but in the same way that I honestly didn't know anything about CM Punk, I don't know anything about AJ Lee and the history. And I know it's been a decade since she wrestled, but I don't know, her style, her accomplishments, her biggest matches, any of that stuff, to be honest with you. But I know how cool it is for her to be back, for them to be able to work together. Like, that's the best. You know what I mean? That's the absolute best. To have your family with you on the road. I know he brings Larry with him sometimes, his wonderful dog as well. But to have your wife with you and to be able to travel, and you're making money. Like, obviously it's a job, but it's a job that he's passionate about and loves. But to be able to do that, like, I would love nothing more than for my wife and kid to be with me on every single trip. I would love absolutely nothing more. Obviously my kid's in school right now, and that's not possible. But when we do the little summer trips and we had the roll to Atlantic City, I talked about how difficult it can be to burn it at both ends, because you're working a long day and then you're trying to entertain them, and you're trying to keep everybody happy. But there's nothing better, right? I'll never forget sitting in my hotel room one night in Atlantic City, and they had already gone to bed, and I was just sitting on my computer and kind of finishing up some notes and watching tape and doing those sort of things. But to just look over and have them with me was awesome. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, this is the best. You know what I mean? Just I know that when I wake up in the morning, like, my family's going to be with me. So anyway, get a chance to work with CM Punk. Michael Chiesa was awesome last week. I love working with Michael Chiesa. We worked together years and years ago, that the infamous Venator event over in Italy, and we always assumed we'd get to work together frequently again. And shortly after was when I had to stop doing commentary for a while. And then, when I started back, it's CFFC, and he was working for LFA. And so for years, we just didn't get to. And now we've started to get to commentate again together, and we had an absolute blast. We nearly knocked the damn table off the stage at one point, because we both got so excited that we stood up and we had our hands on the table, and we both ended up pushing it forward and nearly, like, knocked the whole damn thing off the table. And, like, luckily we both kind of caught it. I think he probably caught it more than I did, to be honest with you, but we kept it. That would have been bad, because, like, the monitors would have gone over, and that's fine. Everything could be set up, but if there's not enough lead on everything, it's going to pull your headset off. It's going to kill the audio. It's going to do all that. And I mean, I'm telling you, we came within a fraction of that happening. So we were just having a blast, you know what I mean? Hanging out, having a good time. Those grappling events are so much fun. We just try to keep them kind of a party. Get an absolute honor to work with him, and definitely he'll be working more as well. I don't know if did you guys see that highlight, by the way? Obviously some great results over there. Pat Sabatini versus Richie Lewis. Just in case you saw it and have seen different results, yeah, there was a little bit of miscommunication there, because we actually called it as a reversal in overtime. And to be honest with you, I thought to be honest, everybody that was looking, the truck, I've talked to them since, they thought that's what was being called. Everybody was involved that was being called. At some point, and I don't know exactly when, it was communicated, and I'm talking about the main event, Pat Sabatini versus Richie Lewis, thought it was a reversal in overtime, the golden score, get the victory. They actually came back and said, no, it was actually because Richie Lewis, when he was close to the reversal, twice he fleed the mat, and you can't do that. You have to be looking to engage. Fleeing the mat That's a foul, and he did it twice in overtime, and so therefore he's disqualified. So, it didn't change the result either way. That was always going to be a tough match for Richie Lewis. I mean, wrestling is his base, but Sabatini's jiu-jitsu is off the charts. But, Richie Lewis stepped up, man. He's enjoying the spotlight. He's enjoying challenge himself. He may be on the plane here. I'm just going to say that. I don't know if he is or not, actually. But I know there were some conversations of, like, last night he was like, you know what? I'm going to fly out there to North Dakota because I want to be K-Shot and I want to challenge the winner. We were like, bro, I don't know if you could make it to North Dakota on a day's notice from the East Coast. Like, there's not a ton of flight options. But anyway, he's great. Edwin Ocasio, Taylor Highshaw, both incredibly talented athletes. I think both of those should end up in UFC BJJ in the very near future. Elder Cruz, Sergio Villas had a great match. Kevin Dantzler. Oh my God, Kevin Dantzler crushed it. Not only did he have a quick win, but then on the mic he crushed it. Andrew Cockle is always fun. But the viral highlight, I guess, did you guys see this Amanda Mazza, Emily Hansen result where Amanda Mazza looked great as always. I'm a fan. She's an exciting grappler. She's exciting on the mat. She's exciting off the mat. But she has a very dominant early performance. I mean, it only goes about a minute and a half, and she's on the back, rear naked choke. Looks like it's in. No, I'm not going to say that. It doesn't look like it's in. The rear naked choke is in. The chin is tucked, but, I mean, the lock is fully there. The hand's behind the head. And all of a sudden, they let go. And we're like, what the hell just happened? Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't understand. Did she break her jaw? But like, Emily Hansen isn't bothered whatsoever, so she shouldn't break her jaw. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. So we're like, what happened? And then she kind of reaches back and grabs her hair real quick. And did the hair get caught up somewhere? And they were just being, like, really sportsmanlike? Or, like, what happened? And then as we're still trying to figure it out, I guess they were like, no, everything's good, So they start, so they start to just like, all right, well, we'll re-engage, Amanda had let go of the rear naked choke position, but she's like, all right, we'll let it go. And we'll start again. And as soon as she goes to set it back up, she's like, oh, I know what happened. So we end up here, and so you start to think, oh, she must have broken her arm. And we get confirmation afterwards. And we see the video, but we got extra confirmation afterwards. CEO Rob Haydek went down to the mat and talked. And basically, they were in that rear naked choke position, and they both heard something pop. And when they heard something pop, Amanda immediately, and you can see she kind of feigns your jaw, she goes, oh, you see this surprised look. She thought she'd broken her opponent's jaw, and Emily Hansen was like, no, my jaw's okay. And it turns out it was that forearm blade. Just a freak injury, and incredibly unfortunate for Amanda Mazza, and I hope she heals up quickly. Crazy, though. I mean, you saw some high-level grapplers on her feed saying, like, new fear unlocked. Like, and I'll tell you what, because I always say, when you get on the back, just squeeze. Just squeeze. Like, I mean, literally, I've said that hundreds of times over my life, in all the thousands of MMA fights and grappling matches and everything that I've ever watched. I'm like, dude, just if you get on the back, squeeze, because even if it's not under the neck and you're not getting a true choke, like, you could put pressure on the neck, pressure on the chin. You can actually break somebody's jaw. I mean, this is silly, but like, this is some of my first memories of grappling. Years and years ago, was Ken Shamrock doing a lesson and talking about, like, putting the blade, like, there's that little bone on your wrist, putting that under somebody's nose. If you kind of like turn your thumb upwards and you follow the line of your thumb on your arm, there's that gap right there at your wrist, and there's a little tiny bone. I guess that's part of the forearm or whatever that sticks up. But that little gap that's right there on the wrist, he would, like, just put that right under the bridge of somebody's nose and, like, pull up and you'll just snap their nose. It'll just hurt so bad they'll tap. That one he used to preach. Ken Shamrock was nasty back in the day, by the way. And this is like kind of like bouncer moves, but it's jiu-jitsu, but it's kind of like not good. It's not stuff you want to train. Like in a competition, do whatever. But don't do that to your training partner. But he would talk about too, like if you can't quite get it under the neck, like just take that blade of the arm, same thing. You look on the inside, take the blade of the arm and run it across the jawline and pull in and up, and you'll start to kind of separate the jaw a little bit, and you'll create something there. And so, anyway. So, I mean, I'm assuming that's probably where the thought process in my head has always been rooted, is that was some of my earliest lessons in grappling, was getting that taught alongside the technical stuff. Again, I never worked out in a gi, but that always stuck with me. And so I've always said, just, if you get in that position, just squeeze. Like, maybe you don't get the pure rear naked choke, but something happens. And yeah, this is the first time I've seen that kind of not pay off. So crazy viral moment there. But anyway, great stuff, man. I hope you guys watch those grappling matches, man. We try to, in the same way, man, there's such a revolution with BJJ and what UFC BJJ is doing. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to build the bowl. We've even talked about seeing if UFC BJJ might be willing to come out to the East Coast and put on a show at the Hard Rock, just so people on the East Coast can see a live event. But I'll be honest, I don't think they have like the shipping crates and everything built for that yet, because you're gonna have to custom, you're gonna have to create all that, right? Like, they custom built that bowl, and it's in these multiple pieces, and it's heavy, man. It's actually really heavy. So, not that they don't have the, obviously the UFC can pay to ship whatever they want, but there is cost involved with that. You know what I mean? The shipping cost, the fuel costs, all that stuff. So, you can't just be burning through money and whatever and not be profitable. So anyway, but just to ship it, like, you've got to get containers to put it in, and I don't think that's going to be easy in itself. I guess you could put it on pallets or whatever. But anyway, what I'm saying is, we might not get the bowl out there to the East Coast anytime soon. But, they're doing great things, and we try to do great things with our events too, at least. Keep the pace fast. Keep the pace fast. We play music in the background, not overwhelming. Not trying to make it a club situation, but at least just keep a little vibe, a little atmosphere, let everybody have a little fun. Obviously, there's cocktails flowing. We're all hanging out, having a good time. So that was a great event. Hopefully you guys check that out. Love working with Michael Chiesa. But so I bring that up again. Michelle Watterson has entered the mix lately. She's phenomenal as well. I'm actually hoping to book her for one of the last shows of the year. We're finalizing our schedule for the fourth quarter, and I'm hoping to get her booked for a show once again as well. So it's been great to have her. Just absolutely blessed with the people I get to work with. But Dean Thomas, even at this stage of the game, is watching tape on these regional level developmental fighters. And I have all the admiration for that in the world. That guy has been around forever, and here he is still, and he's like, I want to go see some tendencies. I want to see if I can pick things out, things that I can bring to the broadcast that have noticed in their preparation or what they do. So just utmost respect. that is consummate professional, right? Like, not just assuming, hey man, I'm Dean Thomas. I'm on the UFC broadcast. I know everything about the sport. I've coached it. I've competed in it. I've been around it for literally pretty much all my life at this point. I'll just show up and do the thing. No, he's putting notes together, and Rod, one of our matchmakers, man, he sends over kind of notes about the athletes themselves when he has insight. And Dean's just like so appreciative, like, oh man, thank you for this. Some background of how matchups came together, or why certain people were selected, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that's so cool, man, that he soaks it up. So anyway, that will be tonight, CFFC 146. We'll talk about that because we got a lot going on. But the UFC is in Australia this weekend. I'll be flying home during most of it tomorrow. I do have a layover in Denver, so I'll try to catch a couple hours of it there. I am flying United. I usually fly American Airlines, and I got that down. I'm close to 2 million miles on American Airlines, so I know I pay my monthly subscription. I've been paying my monthly subscription for years and years and years and years and years, just because I think it's cheaper than like the per flight basis. Plus, it's just faster. Like, I don't have to put the payment in or whatever. So I know I can get on there and I can watch my fights. United, I'm not so sure, but just North Dakota, it's a little bit it's a little bit remote out here, to be honest with you. And American doesn't fly anywhere close. They fly like Bismarck, which is like 2.5 hours away. So I fly United. Everybody makes fun of me. My wife's making fun of me for being bougie because I've been flying for so long. I'm used to getting those upgrades. I'm used to sitting up at the front of the plane. United, I'm not Mr. Morgan the United. I'm just this dude named John sitting in the back of the bus. So I do have T-Mobile, so I think flying on the way here, I wasn't trying to stream anything, but I was able to connect briefly. So anyway, I'll be watching it. I will be home for the main event. Not a pay-per-view card by any stretch of the imagination, but some fun fights on here. Some fights that I'm excited about and intrigued by, and I'm looking forward to watching. None bigger, I don't think, than the main event, right? Carlos Solberg is this guy that obviously was always marketable from the very beginning. I can tell you that the ladies swoon when Mr. Carlos Oberg runs around, even in the UFC staff. Obviously everybody keeps it professional. But I remember Heidi Dean. She'd always have a big smile on her face when Carlos Oberg rolled around. But I don't know. I was just, is this guy the real deal? Is he? Here he is, number 3. You know what I mean? He just continues his rise up to the top, and I'll be honest, I probably didn't give Carlos Oberg the credit that he deserves. You know what I mean? And in that I saw that, okay, here's a guy that is going to compete and is going to be, again, very marketable, and he's going to have some opportunities, but I didn't necessarily see him going on this run that he's on right now. Jan Blachowicz, Volkan Oezdemir, Alonzo Minifield, Daun Zhang, Ihor Potria. I mean, so he's kind of made his way up, right, where kind of the fringe outside the top 15. Okay, he's racking those up. But these last couple ones, Blachowicz, Oezdemir, Minifield, I mean, okay, you're there. You're there. You know what I mean? And now here he finds himself up at the top of the division, wins here, and I mean, now you're talking about number 1 contender fight. Timing couldn't be better, right? I mean, you got the light heavyweight title fight a week later, so big opportunity. Man, meanwhile, Dominic Reyes, how do you not cheer for Dominic Reyes? You know what I mean? Like, this dude, one scorecard away from changing his life financially, historically, everything, and it doesn't go his way. You know what I mean? And then, okay, well, you can battle back from that. We'll see. We'll test your character and see how you rebound, and then he just has horrible results and injuries, and oh man. And now he's here, and he's on a win streak, and he's not that far from a title shot again. What a piece of history that. Oh my, this is how my brain works. It just crossed my head. What if he wins and he gets there and John Jones comes back? I mean, comes back. I don't think John Jones is coming back at light heavyweight, but what if he did? That would be either absolute cinema, because Dominic Reyes could be like, yes, that is absolutely the fight I want, because this is how I right my wrong. This is how I deliver. Or it could just be like, oh, not this guy again. No, I've been out here grinding, and you just show up, you jackass. But that's neither here nor there right now. So that's probably the one I'm most interested in out of the whole thing. Obviously, stakes in that one, and I think intrigue. And I don't know, the cloud bet. I got to turn in my cloud bet pick before I go on air tonight, so they have time to get me the artwork and everything that I need. And, man, I think I might go with Dominic Reyes in this one. You know what I mean? I think I might go with Dominic Reyes in this one. I think I might go with the underdog pick there. So we shall see. Again, some fun fights here. The names you would expect to see: Jimmy Crute, Jack Jenkins, Jake Matthews, and Neil Magny. Jake Matthews, man, that dude just been around forever. Justin Tava, Louis Sutherland could be a lot of fun for however long it lasts. And then I'm super pumped up by Tom Nolan, Charlie Campbell. Tom Nolan, Charlie Campbell. Just a good stylistic matchup, but of course, the CFFC ties. But I think this was really, really good matchmaking, and I'm really, really intrigued by this matchup. Andre Petrosky is in as well against Cam Roston. And Andre Petrosky, man, I've had a chance to work with him in commentary, and, had a chance to commentate some of his grappling matches and that sort of thing. Andre, I think, has figured out at this point in his career that, like, dude, just say yes to whatever, whenever, wherever they need you, and you will be compensated for it. And man, fighter pay is always such a big discussion, especially right now. All the settlement payments are going out, which is great. It's great to see the settlement payments going out. Again, that's just good stuff. To get money into people's hands is just a good thing, especially people that weren't expecting it, people that can really, really use it. I know there's been some situations of people talking about, hey, man, I got medical bills I need to pay for. But even guys that maybe weren't around that long, but, all of a sudden they get a check in the mail, and it's like, man, I can pay off my house with that. Or, I can get myself, I can close out some credit cards with that I've let myself get in debt with. Whatever it may be. So that's such a good thing. And I'm glad to see that it was almost universally accepted, and it seems like almost everybody in the class was reached and contacted and signed up, and that's good, because in the beginning, I told you, like, I was talking to some people that were like, what? I get money? And I'm like, yeah, dude, look, you're on the list right here. You haven't signed up yet? No, I didn't know, But I think I read somewhere where they got like 98% of the people that are in the class to sign up for, which is good. You had your outspoken folks, like Hinato Moicano, said, look, I don't even want that money. Like, I feel like my principles, I I don't even want that money. I know everybody's bagged the Moicano. I've talked about it before. I actually respect the man who says, like, no, look, my agreement is this. That's what I agreed to, and that's my principles, and I'm adhering to it. I respect that, but I take that money and give it to charity. Take that money and set aside for your children. I don't know. I wish he would have done. And obviously, I've worked with Moicano. I love Moicano. I wish he would have taken it. His situation I equate to one that's kind of in my own life. When I moved to Las Vegas and decided, okay, I'm ready to buy a house. I can go into that. It's kind of a personal story, but decided, okay, the timing is right. Basically, it was have a kid or buy a house. Kid wasn't happening right away, so we decided to buy a house, and then the kid happened shortly after. So it was a beautiful family story. But Las Vegas was in the middle of a crash, right? And I mean the whole country was, but Las Vegas got hit really hard. It was like 2011, and this has been a huge blessing in my life. But I told my wife, I was like, I don't think I ever want to leave Las Vegas. Like, I really, really like it here, and the house market is crashing. But I'm like, I don't think Las Vegas is going to disappear in the desert and go away. The UFC is based here. It's the fight capital of the world. I want to live here, and I'm going to buy a house, realizing that the house values are down right now and may never go back to what they were, but it's worth buying. And so I did what's called a short sale, right? Or purchased from a short sale. And for people that don't know or don't remember at this time, basically, like people that had mortgages, like the house that I bought, was worth like a third of what the people paid for it, right? So this couple that they were original owners of the house. They lived there for about 5 years when I bought it. It was built in 2006. I bought it in 2011. They walked away from the house. And it was weird because to me, I've always been very much of like, if you make an agreement, that's your word. You pay for it. You live up to it, whatever it is. And so if you sign that mortgage, you sign an agreement, much like a fighter might sign a contract. And my belief was always, you live up to that. Like, that was your word. You signed it. You put it on there. You make good on that. But the entire system had decided that, this was wrong, and they were allowing people to walk away from houses, essentially. And so people could go through this process of a short sale, which essentially meant you were buying the mortgage for less than it was worth. The bank would take a loss on it. You would take a loss on it. I think it impacted their credit for a couple years. I don't know how long it is. And at the time, but it was eye-opening to me. I'm like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you do that? If the entire industry realized that this setup was wrong and they're all agreeing that we got to make something right about this and they're allowing you to walk away, like, walk away. And it's funny because the couple that, if I remember the story right, I don't know the people personally, but I just remember hearing the story. Like, I believe the house was in the husband's name, and so he got the negative hit on his credit and impact and all that. But I believe if the story I remember is right, like they just went down the road to another house in the neighborhood and bought the house in the wife's name at the lower price of the short sale. So they had to pack up and move out of the house and move to another house. But then they got their mortgage adjusted to what the current rates were and what everybody agreed was right. So anyway, when opportunities like that are there, like, where they say the system, you're owed this money, or you're okay to, I wish Moicano would have taken it. But I will not hammer, people, you stupid, is this not? You won't hear that from me because I respect a lot of a guy standing up to his principles. So anyway, lot going on in this one. Can you see my head's in a million different places? Here's the position I'm at right now. It's one of those careful what you wish for type things, right? Man, I wanted to get involved as I could with CFFC and I'm joking when I say this, but we were kind of laughing about it yesterday. Me and Uncle Rudy were having a little cigar late last night, and he was kind of hanging out with us for the day, and he's like, man, you said you wanted to be busy. You're busy now, So, but it's such a blessing, man. I'm getting an opportunity to be involved in literally every aspect of the operations with CFFC. And I absolutely love it. So just absolutely blessed by that opportunity. So, but my head is in a million different places. Hey, a couple things real quick, and then I want to get to some interviews. ESPN Plus. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Maybe I'll talk to Cool Coffee about this next week. I'm actually really thinking about getting rid of it. I mean, I guess I have to keep it through the end of the year because I want to watch all the UFC content that's on there. But I'm actually really thinking about getting rid of it. I gotta sit back and reorganize things. Man, I kind of only watch certain things on there, and now I realize that I don't have access to everything, or I do have access to it because I also have Fubo TV. I got to figure this thing out, man. I'm not trying to sound like the old man here, but I don't want to say that these things are getting complicated, but especially like, and I was looking at my T-Mobile bill because I was actually I was upgrading some phones for my family, and I was looking at my T-Mobile bill, and apparently like with my service I get like Hulu, uh, I get Hulu free. I think I get Netflix at a discount, and I get Apple TV Plus included in my plan. And all that's coming through T-Mobile. It's just everything's so intertwined now. You know what I mean? Like I gotta figure it all out. But with the UFC, because the most of what I watched was the UFC, and not only the UFC, but the shoulder program around it and all that. I do watch, some live sports, obviously, but most live sports that you watch are either, for me, it's like combat sports type stuff, which isn't necessarily on there. Although I guess PFL is probably going to stay there. I gotta figure it out, man. But this whole like $30 a month thing or whatever, I don't know. So anyway, I gotta figure that out. And the other thing is, I want to see the Smashing Machine. I'm excited about it. I remember when The Rock announced it, and I was like, man, that's so cool. They're gonna shine a light on a figure that probably a lot of history is forgotten. This is another thing I was talking to Dean Thomas about the other night, man. The way that our sport kind of moves past its history like really fast. And I get it. Everything's about what's current, what's the most clicks, what's the biggest thing right now. Historical stuff is never going to be the biggest. I know when I was at Junkie, man, I always wanted to really partner with MMA History Today and really feature their content and create like a partnership. You know what I mean? Because I thought there was a lot of good stuff there, and then maybe partner with UFC Fight Pass as well, and whatever to like really deep dive through like cool old nuggets, and it never really panned out. And I think it was because like it was good. I thought it was really good content. I mean, hell, during the pandemic, when there was no live stuff happening for a while, we really started to dive into like old things and revisit. But I thought this was cool. The movie was coming out. That hey man, they're gonna focus on Mark Kerr, a legend and a feared man in his time. But a man whose time didn't last forever, and a man who it was a good figure to focus on because it's not just a feel good, happy go lucky story. But the original documentary is powerful, very very powerful, and very very hard to watch at times. And so I did wonder, like, how are they going to do this? Is it going to be, are they going to, are they going to make it like a cute Hollywood story, or are they going to gloss over some things, whatever? But from all accounts, it doesn't sound like that's the case. So I'm excited to see it. And then I was worried about, how it was going to be portrayed. But I was watching just a quick little social clip the other day of the producer or director that was, talking about how important the realism of everything was. Because sometimes, MMA movies especially don't exactly look great. But I really want to see a Smashing Machine, man. I'm excited to see that come out. If you haven't seen it, just know exactly those things that I was saying. That, like, if you're going to watch it, just know, like, it ain't no feel-good story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, man, this is Hollywood cheese of a dude just making his way to the top, coming from the other side of the tracks. You know what I mean? Like, nothing was given. He had to earn every step of the way. It's it's not that. You know what I mean? Not that he didn't have to earn every step of the way, but it's ultimately it's a story of pain and addiction and tension and rife and all that. So anyway, I'm anxious to go check that out. So anyway, all right, listen, this is what I want to do. CFFC 146 is tonight. I know hopefully everybody will join us. I know a lot of by the time you listen to this, because I am a day late, just could absolutely not squeeze in yesterday. I had so much going on. In fact, my boss and some of the crew are out on the water right now having a good time, enjoying a little fishing this morning as we did last time. I even brought a visor and sunglasses this time so that hopefully I wouldn't get sunburned. It's not nearly as warm as the last time we were here. But so hopefully I wouldn't get sunburned like I did last time. If you guys remember last time I was here, I had to go on air with like an absolute tomato face because I was absolutely sunburned. So that was funny. But no, what I want to do is preview a little bit of what we got going here tonight. Main event: Jesse Roberts versus Angel Alvarez. I'll just throw it out there. Jesse Roberts, defending champion, is going to look to defend the belt for the first time. He won it last time out. He's got a very impressive record, 9-1, hailing from Louisiana, against the hard-hitting Angel Alvarez, the Cuban, who trains down at Kill Cliff in Florida now. Earned his way with a couple of victories here. He's on a nice win streak. Will say yesterday at the weigh-ins, Angel Alvarez missed weight, 155 or 156, I should say. We do allow a 1 pound allowance here at CFFC. Just the thought process being like, hey man, these guys are still making their way to the top. Like, that 1 pound can mean a big difference sometimes. So like, let's just give it to them here. Once they get to the UFC, they can worry about that pound. But let's just give them that 1 pound allowance here. Always been the thought process. I really like that. And to be honest, I would recommend more developmental regional promotions adopt that practice if you're not utilizing it already. Like, you're allowed to add the 1 pound allowance. There's nothing in the bylaws that say you can't. And why? We know weight cutting is real. I mean, we'd all like for it to go away, but I still have yet to hear a good solution. So anyway, neither here nor there. But bottom line, Angel Alvarez, 156.2. And he was 156.6 on his first trip to scale. Got extra time. Went and continued to cut. Shaved his hair. Did everything he could to make it. In fact, he actually shaved his hair before when he came in at 156.6. And then came back in 156.2. And I was standing there watching the digital scale. It was a digital scale. I was standing there watching it. And he stepped on the scale, and it would flicker briefly to 1. I mean, just you'd see 156.2 would come up on the scale, and then just for a little quick digital second, it'd go to 0. But I mean, just for a millisecond, and then it would immediately go to 2, and it would also flicker the other way to 0.4. So, I mean, I think if it was flickering completely down to 0 and 0.2, the commission might have said yeah, I'll give you that. But it was going up to 0.4 too. So when I say that, I want to make it very clear. He was 156.2. Disappointing, and so he's not going to be able to win the title. But you beat the champ. It just means there's a vacant title, and you got a nice win on your record. So that's the main event that we have tonight. I think it's going to be a great fight. Jesse Roberts is the only one that can walk away with the title. But what I wanted to do was share an interview. Seth Fassano, who's a hard-working kid that's been doing some stuff behind the scenes for us at Rowan University. He's in the same way that I'm kind of learning all the aspects of things. He's doing that from the start, and I'm trying to encourage. If I could encourage people more now, I used to get a lot of people asking about advice. How do I do journalism? How do I do this? Boy, I don't think it takes a real wise person to see where journalism is at a whole, not just in the mixed martial arts industry. I would encourage you to learn as many skills and aspects of this industry or any industry as you possibly can. And Seth is doing that because in addition, he's definitely into content creation, film production. He actually works with the Rowan University baseball team, does a lot of their video shoots, edits. So he's got all those skills. He's practicing his interview skills as well, which it takes time. It just does in the very beginning. No matter who you're interviewing, no matter what level, you're going to be a little bit nervous. You're not going to be as smooth as you will be later on. And it's why I always tell people, man, if you're into this, just get reps, get practice. The more you can, the better. So anyway, Seth Fassano is doing that, and he handles some interviews and stuff. A lot of it is posted over our OnlyFans page, onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA. I know a lot of people are incredibly adverse to signing up to OnlyFans. I know a lot of people have no problem signing up for OnlyFans whatsoever. And trust me, baby, I don't judge. You sign up for whatever you want to sign up for. But I can tell you, if you just sign up for onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA, you will only get our content. In fact, I think I've talked about this before. It's set up so that it's actually kind of hard to search within OnlyFans for stuff. And my understanding is they did that on purpose because they don't necessarily want people just doom scrolling or whatever and being exposed to content that maybe they didn't want. They want you knowing that you got exactly what you went there for. And so I've actually taken to making sure that anytime we talk about onlyfans.com that we don't just say onlyfans.com. We say onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA because you've got to go right there or you won't even find our content. So anyway, a lot of stuff is over there. But I thought, hey man, why don't I share it here? So I get Seth, and as she says, so I talked about the jack of all trades. So Seth's doing all that stuff. Next week, actually, though, CFFC Next Gen, he's actually working with our production team, and he'll be helping stage manage. So he'll actually be helping stage athletes, walk athletes, keep traffic moving in the right direction, all the things that happen off camera that make sure all the people are in the right place on camera. I'm sure like you see like the walkouts, right? Whether you see it live or whether you see it like in the replay where you have somebody there on a headset, they're communicating with production team to make sure they have the athletes in the right place. So it's like, okay, you guys are in commercial. All right, cool. No, we've got blue corner ready to go. We're ready to walk. All right, blue corner athlete right in front of me. Okay, you ready to go? Here we go. We're going in 5, 4, 3, 2, and then so that's what he's going to be doing. So learning a little bit of everything. So he did an interview with Jesse Roberts. So I thought, you know what, unique position. Cold Coffee's not here. Why not share it? Why not shine a light on somebody? Give them a little bit of a platform or whatever to see what they're doing behind the scenes. So if you haven't been joining us over onlyfans.com/CFFC, you've been missing this. And here to help preview the card is Seth Fassano and Jesse Roberts.
So CFFC 146 is coming up. Big title fight. Jesse Roberts is looking to defend his title for the very first time. And with me today is that man, the champion, the lightweight champion of CFFC, is Jesse Roberts. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about how you got crowned, right? CFFC 140, where you defeated Omar Rizgayev by jab to ground and pound in round 1. So just talk about what kind of led to the finish and how it felt.
Man, it felt like a dream. Just felt like it didn't even hit him, and he just went down. I thought he slipped. And then I just go down and start hitting him, and next thing I know, he's like, oh, he's unconscious. He's out. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this right now. It was crazy.
Hey, that happens, you know what I mean? Sometimes it just happens like that.
Right.
So when you landed that jab, did you think he was going to go down, or was it just kind of just fighting as usual, just going to throw the jab, try to get timing, and next thing you know, he was on the ground?
Yeah, no, I didn't think he was going to go down, but it was, I switched to southpaw because he was chewing me up with calf kicks early on. He was hurting me with some calf kicks. So I went southpaw, and then I threw a hard, just right jab, covered up, and then he just went down.
So what do you think? You think you got the best jab in CFFC now, or what after that?
That's what I'm starting to think. And I try to, I watch a lot of Kamaru Usman, and then that mean jab he has, he can switch left or right. He'll left jab, right jab, and put guys down with it, right? I was like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And I try to work on it, and hey, might be on something.
That's actually really interesting that you bring up Kamaru, because he does have a very clean jab. Is that somebody who's a motivation to you, who maybe had you start fighting in the first place, or any other athletes in particular that maybe motivated you to start training in the first place?
I watch all these guys, and I look up to all these guys, and I try to just take what I can from them. Of course, my biggest probably inspiration and was my go-to goat is GSP, of course, George St. Pierre. And hey, he had a mean jab too. He stuck by that jab. And and I watch all these guys, and yeah, they motivate me a lot. Even though I know Kamaru, he's teammates with Angel. That's okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I mean, I was going to say, somebody you look up to is actually his teammate. Is that a little weird for you, or what?
No, man, I done fought a lot of guys that was teammates with all the top guys, but at the end of the day, you're not them. I don't care who you train with. I done fought a lot of guys that was training partners with Dustin Poirier and Omar, Arman Sarukian.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You're not Arman, and you're not Kamaru. You're you, and I'm me, and it's got to go.
And you said something very key there, is that you're Jesse Roberts. So I want to ask about, who is Jesse Roberts besides the fighter, right? We know you're a CFFC champion. We know that you want to bring some Louisiana backyard style wrestling into the cage. Who is Jesse outside of the cage?
Man, I'm an easygoing guy, man. I don't drink, don't smoke, I don't even cuss, man. I'm a good boy, I guess. I try to be. But man, I'm dad. I got 4 kids. That's why I'm out here in the car. I got 4 kids inside. I can't do this inside.
Fair. No, I feel you. What kind of made you start training in the first place, and what kind of made you fall in love with MMA?
Man, I just always loved that aspect of competition and just always wanted to be the baddest guy in the room. I just, for whatever reason, I always wanted to prove I was the toughest. Growing up with a twin brother, we always going back and forth. He was, I guess, my first training partner. I had another brother who's 7 years older than me, so it took me a while to be able to climb that one. I'm like 10 years old, he's 17, putting a beat down on me. And I was like,
That is messed up. Hey, but a pretty good first training partner, no? Pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. We put the gloves on, and he showed me what it was like to take a body shot and how somebody could go down.
Oh, come on. That's nuts. But now, if you're a champion, so I'm going to assume that your brother's probably not messing with you too much.
No.
So let's talk about you becoming champion. Like, what has changed for you? Because we see a lot of fighters, whether it's a mentality switch or, they amp up training. Sometimes things just change when people become champion. How do you think it's affected you, in your life, becoming a CFFC champion and now having the target on your back? Does it change anything, or is it just kind of business as usual for you?
No, man, it hadn't changed one single thing for me. It was eye-opening to just get the belt and have this spotlight now, but we all already knew I was capable of this and just needed them opportunities. And now I'm just being able to show people what I can do.
Well, how helpful would something like this be for your career? Because I'm assuming you probably have UFC aspirations, of course. A 9-1 fighter, you have a hell of a resume to your name. I mean, you're knocking on the door of a call. You got to know that. How helpful do you think an experience like this is going to help you in your career to take it to the next level, when the call eventually comes?
Yeah, I'm upset with Uncle Dana right now. I feel like I should already be getting my call. And now I got to take this out on Angel Alvarez come on the 26th. Now I got to just put that statement down. Hey, let's go. I already told him when I won the belt I was ready. Now I got to defend it, show him again. If that's what I got to do, that's what I'll do.
What do you think helps your case right now as to why you maybe should have gotten a call already? Why is it kind of upsetting for you, and from your perspective?
I just felt like I've done everything I needed to do. I fought a lot of experienced guys. I fought on the big stages. I fought Bellator twice in the big arenas. I went 1-1 there, and my one loss, I dominated the whole time and just whatever, but I'd love that rematch. But anyway, so I've been there, done that, and then my last 2 wins was against good experienced guys, and I finished them both. And I just felt like that was enough. Getting the belt, felt like that was it.
Yeah, definitely would consider you a guy kind of on that door myself, but I am just some schmuck. I will say I am some schmuck. I'm not Dana White, but that's my opinion. So let's talk about the opponent, because that's your next step. So that's what you got to focus on. He's coming off a big finish at JT Schultz, another wrestler, and he's got a good resume on him too. He's won his last 3. What's kind of your assessment of Angel, and knowing that he has Kamaru as a training partner? What else do you know about him?
Yeah, I know a pretty good bit about him. He's strong everywhere. He's a good, strong athlete. He hits hard. He's fast. And he's just solid everywhere. He's a solid fighter. He's definitely my toughest opponent to date, and I'm not taking him lightly by any means. And he trains at Kill Cliff all full. I've been there a few times. I've trained probably 3-4 weeks throughout my time at Kill Cliff. I even sparred with him once. He might remember it, but it wasn't even worth anything to remember. But
it's interesting. You guys sparred before.
Yeah, I say sparred. It was a it was a warm up round. They
Yeah.
get up, you start warming up. Like, okay, get your partner, warm up, and he just happened to be one of my warm up partners. So we wasn't really doing anything. We was just kind of going through the motion, and then I never saw him again. Whenever it amped up.
So, I mean, this guy wasn't really on your radar, but you also don't strike me as a guy who's kind of calculating fights wherever he goes either.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I always I'm looking around, seeing what the rankings are. CFFC, I'm seeing who they got fighting, so I seen he had some CFFC fights, and we was supposed to fight for the belt originally, right?
Yeah, right.
And I was the replacement, and then he got sick, and then Omar was his replacement. So it went full circle there, and now we're meeting up again. So
this is basically a fight that should have already happened.
It should have already happened, yeah.
Should have went down at CFFC 140.
Right.
So, I mean, does it feel good to get the opponent that you were supposed to get, or does it kind of just not matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So with that being said, I mean, how do you see this playing out? How do you see this matchup going for you? And what do you think fans can expect on the night?
My prediction, my Mystic Mac prediction is either you can go one of two ways: first round knockout, or third round TKO or submission.
Hey, we know you like to bring the aggressiveness to the cage, man. I can't wait to see it. That said, as I was saying before, you must be close to a call-up. Had a lot of fighters go from CFFC. Of course, Eric Nolan, Luke Fernandez. We saw Anthony Garasio challenge on the Dana White Contender Series. That's got to light a fire in your ass, no?
For sure. I'm seeing all the other champs go. I said, hey, I'm the champ too, Come on. But here we go, just got to do it again.
Does it add motivation for you to make a big statement on this card, or is it just business as usual for you?
No, you definitely got to make a statement. I consider the first one the same as this one. It's basically a Contender Series fight. And Dana and them, they don't like boring fighters. You got to bring it. So you definitely have to make a statement, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, I haven't seen a boring fight of yours yet, Jesse, personally. But with that said, what impression do you want to leave on UFC Brass? You left a great impression on me as a fan who has watched. What do you want to leave an impression on for Dana? What do you want to tell him right now ahead of this fight?
I already messaged him the other day. I'm watching the Contender Series fights. I'm like, Dana, you got these 155 bums in there fighting right now. That should be me. Who are these guys? I don't know them. Of course, he didn't see it. Probably didn't message me back. But yeah, I'm just telling him, give me my shot. I'm ready.
And finally, any message for the fans out there who are going to tune into this fight?
Yeah, y'all tune in. I bring the fight. I'm right from go. I'm trying to finish my opponent, and like you said, I hadn't had a boring fight yet.
No, that's my perspective. Fans can take my word for it. You can take his word for it. Whatever you want to do. This is not a boring fighter, not one to miss. This is not a boring matchup at all. This is two killers going against each other. Jesse Roberts defending his belt for the first time. A lot at stake here. Call-ups at stake. Best of luck, Jesse. Thank you for spending time with me, and I wish you best of luck on Fight Night.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man.
Well, there you go. The champ's got himself a fight tonight, and he knows it. But how do you not like the guy, right? I mean, first of all, that Louisiana Southern accent gets me every time. I don't know what it is, but I just love that. I can't even do it. I'm not going to do it justice. I love that Southern accent. But look, father of four, hard-working dude, blue-collar guy, gets it. Like, how do you not cheer for people like this? Now, again, he's got a tough fight in Angel Alvarez, and he knows it. Hard hitter, but this is a big moment for Jesse Roberts. And, 9-1, got the title, go to 10-1, a main event, a title defense. I know, man, tough division, right? That lightweight division is always the most stacked. But, man, maybe, Contender Series is a year away, so I'm sure you don't want to wait that long, but maybe you start getting some short notice opportunities. Who knows? Maybe there's a revamped Ultimate Fighter coming up on this Paramount Plus deal. I don't know. We'll find out. We were supposed to have a co-main event between Chris Brown and Guram Gokashvili. Guram Gokashvili, undefeated Georgian, trains out of Teixeira MMA up there in Connecticut. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be in a title fight soon. This guy accepted Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus went to the UFC. Okay, disappointed, but I get it. All right, cool. Hey, we'll match you up. We'll put you up against Chris Brown. Chris Brown was the interim title holder. We'll put you up against him. Cool. All right, let's go. And then Chris Brown was promoted to champ whenever Kyle Daukaus. Did I say Chris Daukaus? Kyle Daukaus. Sorry, Kyle Daukaus went back to the UFC, and he said, "All right, give me that fight." Lineup ready to go. Chris Brown gets hurt. Chris Brown doesn't have it. Isn't withdrawing from a lot of fights, but got hurt. Was very, very apologetic. Tried to find another fight on relatively short notice, but not a lot of people were jumping up saying, "Yeah, let me compete against Guram Gokashvili." Plus, it needed to be somebody that was kind of title worthy because he was already in a title fight. He really wanted to fight for a title. He knows again what that CFFC title might mean as far as his advance of where he wants to go. He's got Glover Teixeira helping manage his career. He knows what could potentially be on the horizon. So anyway, 2 straight championship opportunities that he's missed out on. That fight was scrapped. We'll get him rescheduled as quickly as possible. I've actually talked to him this week about, he's like, dude, just whatever, whenever, just get me in there ASAP. He does want to fight for a title, so we want Chris Brown to be healthy, or maybe we find something of the interim variety while Chris Brown's healing up. We'll figure it out. We got a couple more shows this year, but he wants to keep. But anyway, he's staying in good spirits. That fight did get scrapped, but he's a very, very tough competitor. So, promoted the co-main event is Blayne Richards against Keegan Ginrich. Now, I was kind of looking at the odds this morning to see what the odds makers were thinking about it, and it looks like Keegan Ginrich is a little bit of a favorite right now. Opened up as an underdog, but that's kind of shifted. Now he's a favorite. I think it's a very, very closely contested matchup, and I like the matchmaking. And I can tell you, yesterday the face-offs were a little bit tense because Keegan Ginrich, not that he's vocal, but his corner was vocal. His cornerman was shouting a little bit, and so we had a couple, I won't say tension, but it was like, yeah, it kind of added a little flavor to that face-off. It's always funny in those face-offs because, when you got somebody talking in a ballroom, like we're in, it's obviously a little bit different than somebody screaming from the side of a stage at like a UFC event where you don't really hear them or it drowns out into a bunch of voices, and you kind of want to let it go because it adds some flavor and it adds some tension, but also like, hey guys, let's not pop off right now. You know what I mean? We're trying to get to a fight tomorrow. So anyway, another young man that I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of, Jake Noecker. He's doing a lot in the MMA space. Obviously, he's at Home of Fight, and he's been doing his own thing in certain aspects for a while, and he's doing some things for us as well. He's doing some interviews, some content creation. He's staying involved with the Next Gen series and helping with the matchmaking in our Next Gen series, along with James Lyons, who's out here. So a lot going on, man. But I want to feature his interview. Number one, because it's funny. And I didn't really go into this off the top. Another kind of challenge, because really it didn't boil down to this, but I knew it would be a challenge, is the internet situation, the Wi-Fi connectivity situation out here is not always fantastic, it forbears. And so Jake Noecker did an interview with Blayne Richards once he was here. Blayne was here. So Jake's at home back on the East Coast. And Blayne was here, and the connection was bad. So the video is really bad. The audio is perfect, but the video is really bad. And so because of that, I couldn't even post the video on onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA. But it was a good interview, and I thought it made sense. And again, I was like, you know what? On a week that Cold Coffee's not around, maybe I can get some, just let you hear some other voices, hear some people as they help preview the card. So this is Jake and Blayne Richards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, happy fight week, CFFC 146, and rocking on the card, Blayne Richards. Blayne, how we feeling, man?
Good, dude. I don't know if you saw, but they moved your boy up, co-main event now.
Yes, sir.
So where we should be. We're doing good.
Now, I think weigh-ins are tomorrow, right? So does that mean you're struggling right now? Are you suffering at all?
No, man. I keep pretty good in shape most of the time. I eat pretty healthy to keep myself pretty low. I'm probably 10 over right now, but I'll cut a little bit tonight, and then tomorrow I'll get it all off pretty easily.
I mean, aside from cutting weight, which doesn't seem horrible, I suppose, how is your energy typically during fight week, especially right now?
My energy is great, honestly. I feel really clear-headed. just ready to rock, ready to have some fun, honestly.
Well, it's a good fight, man. On paper, at least, it's looking like a banger. Keegan Genrich, what are your thoughts here, man?
Him specifically, I don't really care. As far as like, I watch a little film. I have my coaches mostly watch most of the film for me and stuff. I'm really focused on what I'm going to do, and I think that matters the most. Obviously, he does have a pretty good pedigree behind him. He's got a pretty good name. He's done some big things. He's an LFA champ. So getting that on my resume, that'd be a really good stamp, I believe. So I think, it's going to be a good scrap. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see who can stand in the middle of the fire the longest.
And just based on what you said, I imagine the answer is no, but was it hard? Because this is your second opponent, so you've only had like a month or so to deal with this. Is that hard to switch up at all close to a fight?
Not really necessarily. Like I said, I focus on me mostly. The last guy obviously was a lot shorter and stockier opponent. Versus Keegan's definitely a little bit longer and rangier and stuff like that. He's also southpaw. But I've been working with Anthony and Carlos Trinidad Snake for so long. In the past few camps, it's been nothing but southpaws that we've seen. And even whenever I fought Raheem Forrest last year, he was southpaw. So I've pretty much adjusted to that style pretty well as of recently. So I'm not really too worried about that. And like I said, I just need to focus on myself and be crisp and clean in there. And I think it'll take care of the job no matter what.
Now, is this me just being a journalist and making a story, or is there anything to this? Because like you said, LFA champion, CFFC title contender. I mean, like, is there any CFFC versus LFA bad blood here at all? Are you trying to prove anything extra?
I think the higher ups would definitely approve of that. If I did go out there and smash this guy, that would definitely make them feel great about themselves. So, you know what? Rob's done a lot of good things for me in the past. Aries has done a lot of good things for me in the past. So, yeah, if I can go out there and dominate the LFA champ, put a feather in their hat, I'm down to do that too.
And I did misspeak because I said you were a title contender, but you were champion. So didn't mean to disrespect you there, brother.
Hey, I'm a contender now, though. I don't have it now, so I'm back in the contender pool. And like the last interview that I said, not to be disrespectful or anything like that, but Rob, give me my fucking belt back, dog.
Rob, it was him, not me. Keep me out of this. But I mean, that's a good segue. Like, you think with a win here, well, let me put it either one or the other. You think with a win here, you're more likely to get a UFC shot or a title shot, or what are your thoughts?
Obviously, that's what I want, is the UFC shot. I think that the last four opponents that I've had were contender series quality fighters. Mm-hmm. Obviously, some of them were on there. I've beaten guys that have beaten multiple UFC vets at this point. I beat Hugh Pulley, who beat Grant Dawson, who's in the top 10 at 55 or top 15 at 55. So I do believe that I've had the contender series style fights already. So I'm down to get the short notice call. Obviously, my last opponent's in the UFC. He got the short notice call. So in my mind, I think that would fit perfectly. But if it doesn't work out, I just want to keep rolling. And we know what Dana says on all this, just keep fighting. So that's all I can do. I can only control the things I can control and put my hands on. So the more I fight and the more dominant performances that I put out there, at some point, I'm undeniable. Like, I'll beat anybody's ass on the regional scene. Give me somebody that you guys think can beat me in the UFC, and I'll do something dope there too.
And I do want to ask a little bit more about UFC in a second, but before that, just if a belt is next for you in Cage Fury, because it's vacant now, right? Eric goes to the UFC. You're clear winner of this fight's next in line, in my opinion. So is there any opponent that you think could be a good title fight? And if not, have you ever heard of Hunter Lee, who's also on your card? I only asked because he was calling for a welterweight shot maybe with a win, and I asked about you, and he said that'd be interesting. So what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I really don't care about any of that right now. Even though I'm saying this UFC stuff right now, that's not even a thing that I'm worried about right now. I just need to focus on Friday. and make those things happen, because without Friday's win, none of this fucking matters anyways.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question about looking past Friday's win, and this is really just, I guess, to entertain the fan in me. I think you have an extremely exciting style. I think Eric Nolan has an extremely exciting style, and both of your guys' fights were very exciting. Is that a trilogy that could happen in the UFC someday?
If the MMA gods want to put it together, I'll sign the contract 100%. Yeah, like that'd be awesome. I don't know if that's on anybody else's plate and if that's like something that anybody else cares about as much as we do on our side. But yeah, I'd obviously love that. If you wanted me to fight him tomorrow, I would do that 100%.
I genuinely believe both of you have the skills, talent, mentality, the age, all the tangibles to be top 10 UFC guys champions someday. So maybe we do get that eventually, in the rankings where it might be deserved to happen. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, if the MMA gods figure it out, I'll do it. Till then, we're focused on Friday and the task at hand.
And obviously, like you said, Friday, but just welterweight division of the UFC is clearly a talking point. A lot of talent. We're talking about Islam moving up, maybe fighting Jack Della Maddalena. I know you pay attention with Anthony Smith over there and everything. So, like, what are your thoughts on that division in general, maybe even compared to other divisions? Do you think it's a really strong division?
Yeah, I think that fight is signed. I think they're fighting at Madison Square Garden in November. So
you're right. That's official. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. As far as like grown man, mature man, things like that, 170 is like the perfect weight class. Whenever I was in college, wrestling and stuff, 141 to like 149 is like the prime spot. So I do believe 55 and 170 is like the prime spot for like the best athletes that are going to be in the UFC. So that division obviously is top tier, and with the weight and the power that a 170 can generate, but also being small enough to be able to move and grapple and have the speed to where it looks badass just in the fight, it's hard to deny the welterweight division.
And I saw in an interview you did with Jake Lippman, you were talking about Terrence Crawford training over at his gym, just taking some of that mentality of, staying local and proving that you have come from the right spot. I'm curious, before I actually ask a little more about that, did you actually get work in with Terrence himself or just some of his team? How'd that go?
No, I've never actually like sparred with Terrence or anything like that. Obviously he's been in the lower weight classes now, basically as a 170 pounder, but no, I've never actually worked with Terrence. I work with his team a lot. I don't know if you actually watched the card. Lester Martinez, that was the fight right there. That was the fight on the card that everyone should be watching. I've worked with Lester quite a bit, actually. That guy will be a world champion, hands down. He'll be a world champion, and he's a great guy. So I've gotten some work in with a lot of the teammates there. I've never specifically worked with Terrence. I have on the side had some tips and some little tricks that he's given me while he's watched me hit mitts and stuff like that. That in itself is really cool to me, that he'd even give me the time, obviously where he stands and everything. But yeah, just I have been around him quite a bit. His little brother is actually an MMA fighter, and so I've been in the locker room with him, so I've got to talk to him quite a bit on those aspects and actually got to pick his brain. That's where I come up with the stuff where I'm talking about his mindset and how he's bulletproof and a gangster when it comes to fighting, honestly. So that's where that stuff comes. But I do work at B&B quite a bit just to crisp up my boxing and things. And I think just surrounding yourself with greatness. I'm just trying to get the rub out here a little bit. Pause. But like, yeah, I'm just trying to soak up as much of greatness as I can. Hopefully, it shows in my fights.
Well, and I don't need to tell you who you work with, but just for the people watching who don't know, I mean, you got, like you just said, Terrence Crawford, Danny Molina, Mark Montoya, Anthony, Lionheart, Smith, like so much talent surrounding you. I imagine that does a lot for your actual fight skills in the octagon. Maybe even if it's just like a giant mental edge. Is that true?
Absolutely. We got to throw like my brother Jamal Hill in there. Like I've spent a lot of time with him. I actually lived with him out in Vegas for a short period of time for the Yuri fight and everything. And I posted something today, and he posted me out on his social media and stuff too.
Always
So
posting you, yeah, bro.
yeah. So like, yeah, stuff like that is awesome. It is like, no matter where you're at in this sport, as long as the people that are true OGs of it understand where you're at and understand the skills that you have and kind of put you on, I think that's huge. So yeah, that's a huge confidence thing for me. But yeah, I work with some of the best people in the world at all aspects. We got to throw my brother Carlos Trinidad Snake in there as well too. He's the number one BKFC fighter in the world. We'll be heading to Rome next month to take care of him. So yeah, I work with some of the best people in the world at their any given techniques, and it's adding up, I believe.
And who specifically is going to be coming to corner you for this one?
We're going to have Danny in there as always. We got Anthony Smith out there, and then we're going to have Carlos Trinidad Snake.
That's star-studded, brother.
Yeah. I don't know if you could ask for – there's only one other person I would ask to be there, and he's there in spirit now. So he takes care of me no matter what.
I assume you're talking about Coach Scotty?
Yes, sir. Scott Morton.
Yeah.
Got a
Rest in
shirt on.
peace. Oh, I love him, man. Yeah, I never met him, but I've only just talking to you and Anthony and all the other guys over there. Nothing but great things I've heard about him. So rest in peace for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, sir.
Of course. And just because this fight is, I don't know. I don't actually know the geographics of Middle America. I'm an East Coast boy, but I think this is kind of close to home, right? You going to get some fans in the house?
I have some fans in the house only because they ride or die for me, not because it's close at all. So,
all right, well,
from Omaha, it's 13 hours. So
yeah, it's not very close.
Yeah, not at all. But I do have some people driving up from Colorado. That's where I'm originally from. So they're going to make that trip. Obviously my wife's going to come out. Anthony's daughters have turned into fans. So they're going to come out and stuff too. They like to put the pressure on me as well too. I got to show out for those girls. Obviously they've watched their dad do everything in the world, fight for world championships and stuff. So now I feel like I got to kind of continue on and show out for them too.
I have one question left. Very random and not about fighting whatsoever. I guess you could tie it in, but obviously a Skywalker boxing. What, in your opinion, is the best and worst Star Wars fan? It's a very hot topic. Or Star Wars film, not fan.
So that's crazy. Like I'm not a Star Wars fan. I don't even know.
You post Star Wars graphics, bro. Really?
That's all Coach Danny. That's all Danny and Scott. So yeah. I think it actually came around whenever Danny first started the gym. I don't even know if he had a name for the gym at one point in time, but he was working with a boxer, and they were working a specific combo, and that boxer actually went out and hit that combo specifically that weekend. And then he came back, and he always knew that Danny was a huge Star Wars fan. And so he came back, and I believe, like, I could have this a little – I wasn't there at the very beginning or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure that the guy walked in and was like, man, that was some Skywalker shit right there. You saw that, right? And then Danny was like, yeah, that's it. That's the name we're going to rock. So, yeah. So to be honest, yeah, I'm not like a Luke Skywalker fan or anything like that. I get the stories and things, but I don't know if I've ever actually watched a whole Star Wars film.
I respect the honesty, at least.
Yeah.
That was a
What
funny
about
story.
you? What would you pick?
Oh, my favorite Star Wars is the same answer everybody has. Empire Strikes Back. That was the second one ever made in the 80s. And
Okay.
The worst one is the second most recent one made. What's it called? The Last Jedi? Garbage. Absolute garbage. Pretty easy.
Have you seen the new AI stuff where they're like remaking it with the old people, but like making little clips of new things?
Dude, even in that show, The Mandalorian, they have like a CGI Luke Skywalker. It looks like he's the 70s version of himself. It's freaking crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, AI does some wild stuff. That's for sure.
You nerd out on over anything? Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, anything or no?
That's hilarious that you're saying that, because actually there's a Harry Potter marathon on right now on the TV, and that's what I was taking a nap to earlier. So I don't nerd out on that stuff, but my wife is a big Harry Potter fan, so it's about that time of the year. It seems like it circles
Yes,
back
it is.
around.
The wife's bring it up come October,
yeah.
brother. I understand.
Yeah, she actually just got our dog like a Harry Potter bark box. So it came with like the Quidditch jersey and then like a little Hagrid like toy and stuff. Yeah, chew toy and everything. So that's funny that you bring that up. But no, I'm not necessarily like I don't play video games. I
You just beat people up.
Yeah, I live the game myself, like on a daily basis. I play a crazy game already, so I don't have time to nerd out too much.
EA Sports CFFC 1 coming to Xbox and PlayStation near you. I'd play it all day.
I would do that.
Blayne, before I get you out of here, man, I'd like to do this every time. Tons of fans looking for this fight. Anything you want to say to all your people?
Just be watching. I promise you I'm going to do something cool out there. Y'all know how I fight. Make sure you tune in to UFC Fight Pass. If you don't already, follow me on social media, Blayne Richards 170. And yeah, that's all I got for you, brother.
Love it, man. You heard it here first. Well, not first, but you heard it here again. CFFC 146, Friday, September 26th, UFC Fight Pass. Blayne, I hope you get this at least. May the force be with you and best of luck.
Absolutely. Hey, I actually did. That's funny. I actually went pro on May 4th for my first fight. So I did do that. I did do that 6 years ago. I did that. I did do that. So that's hilarious.
Well, to celebrate the win, watch yourself some Star Wars, all right?
All right, I'll check it out for you, brother.
There you go. Blayne's fired up. Big opportunity. I mean, you think about it. Blayne, there's no way Blayne's not coming in with a chip on his shoulder, right? Like, had that win streak, was the champ, thought he was ready to go, and then gets clipped by Eric Nolan, and then Eric Nolan goes to the UFC. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those you taking everything I worked for kind of moments. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to have a little bit of chip on his shoulder. It would be impossible not to. And so you got to think he's coming in there highly, highly motivated. So anxious to see that. I did laugh a little bit when he talked about, hey, beating a former LFA champ wouldn't mean anything. But I bet the higher ups over at CFFC, I bet it means something to them. It's funny because, I mean, look, we definitely have a healthy rivalry with all the other organizations that are out there, including LFA. But Ed Soros has been one of my good friends for years. And I mean, our relationship goes back decades, you know what I mean? And so it's not like I'm going to be sitting out here, man, like wishing them not to succeed. But it kind of reminds me of like at Junkie. And in the early days, it was Junkie and MMA Weekly. And then that became Junkie and MMA Fighting. Obviously, MMA Weekly is still around. And Scott and the whole crew over there are nothing but great. But I think their content is really more their YouTube channel than anything these days. But, there was always this healthy rivalry. You know what I mean? And we used to talk, in the early days, I'll be honest, it was pretty cutthroat back in the early days. But as we all grew together and we were all working together and we're all like, we're all in the trenches together. We always used to talk about it. Like, if you're with somebody and their battery fails or, man, sometimes you're recording and your camera malfunctions or the infamous double tap. If you've ever done video recording, like you accidentally hit it, like you're pressing in, you accidentally hit it twice, and so you think you turned it on, and in reality, you didn't. You turned it on and off real fast, so you get like a 1 second clip, and then you do a whole. The problem is, like, normally if you're only shooting, this is what Cold Coffee talks about. If you're only shooting, it's no big deal, right? Because you hit record. Oh, is my red light going? Yeah, okay, my red light's going. Are my audio levels bouncing up here? Okay, yeah, they are. They are bouncing up there. Or maybe you have headphones in, so you can actually hear the audio levels. Is my focus good? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna check my focus here. Yeah, okay, cool. Are they in frame? Yeah, all good. Okay. So if you're just shooting, most of the times those little issues won't happen to you. But how many people are just shooting? Pretty much zero these days, right? Nobody has the budget anymore. Everybody's got to be multitasking. So you're shooting and interviewing. So basically, somebody sits down and you don't want them to sit there too long. Like if you ever see an athlete sit down and it's like, say, like media day, and all of a sudden it's just kind of silent for a couple seconds, and they start looking around like, what's going on here? That's what everybody's doing is they're setting their adjustments. So you kind of want them to feel comfortable, and so you hit record, and then where you could be monitoring your levels and monitoring the light and all that, you can't because you're trying to make eye contact with the athlete and interview them and ask a question. And anyway, so we would always say like, well, I'll help you out. You're there. Like if you lost that file, let me loan you this file, or let me get you this audio, or let me get you my battery for the day, or whatever. So I feel like that's what it is. So it's definitely a healthy right. But that made me laugh a little bit for him to say that. Cracked me up a little bit. But I'm fired up, man. I think it's going to be that's a good fight as well. Also on the card, Gilbert Grappling heavily featured here. Paul Samaniego is back. Michaela Rampage is here as well. Chris Williams on the prelims. So they have 3 different athletes on the card. We were up to 5 at one point of their team, and a couple of them had to drop off for some injuries and that sort of stuff. So, but at least 3 from the Gilbert Grappling Squad. Dan Gilbert is an old school legend of the game as well, and his team around him. It's funny, since they're rolling a little deep, they always got a little chip on their shoulders too. So they were barking a little bit at the weigh-ins too. So I think it should be fun. They could get a little roll going on. So anyway, all that's in a couple hours. Hopefully you get a chance to listen to some of this before the show. I know there's a lot of MMA this weekend and on UFC Fight Pass. So, if maybe you listen to this first, and then hopefully it entices you to go check out, if you're not a normal CFFC watcher, how did everything unfold over there. So anyway, apologize for being a day late. Again, this is, it's not, I don't want to say it's the reality because, man, obviously we've been doing this show for over a decade, and, man, the show's going to continue on. Don't you even worry about that. But we're going to keep doing this just because Cold Coffee and I like getting together and having a frosty beverage and talking fights. But there's going to be some situations like this where a day late, and it bugs the hell out of me. And I'm sure most people are just like, whatever. But it bugs the hell out of me because my whole thing when we started this was like, you know what I want? I want consistent delivery, same day, same time every week. And we've had to change the day and times over the years for different reasons. But once we nestled into that time, we were like, that's when we go. And that's proving more and more challenging right now. But obviously my CFFC roles and responsibilities do come first, and I appreciate all the opportunities that Rob Haydack and Brad Bolton and the rest of the team have given me with this organization. I'm absolutely blessed at this point in my life to be doing something I love. And I tell you what, man, I think, no joke, I got to the venue yesterday morning. I got to the venue at 7 a.m., and by the time, now granted, I will say we did have a dinner break, and then late night we did maybe go smoke a cigar or two, which is fun. I love hanging out. Did smoke a cigar or two, but by the time I got done with everything last night, it was 3 a.m. So 20 hours, granted with a couple breaks in there. But that old adage of like, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. Like, I don't give a damn. I'll do 20 hours every day. Like, I love this, man, taking all the passions of my life and kind of bringing them together, and I'm just absolutely blessed by this opportunity. But it does weigh heavy on me when I'm like, but we got our loyal listeners who have been friends and supporters and just good people for so many years, and I let them down. I know there's a lot of great content out there, so I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend like you get all of your information from us. And how can you make it through your MMA week without us? No, not that. But, man, if I can help provide a little bit of entertainment or pass a little bit of time or whatever, man, I want to do that. And so if I don't, I feel guilty. So, anyway, hopefully you enjoy what we did today. Cold Coffee will be back. Cold Coffee will be the one that edits all this together and gets it posted. And, again, I want to thank him because he was ready to go at the drop of a hat and has kept me apprised of the schedule and is like, hey, we're doing this, but for the next 4 hours I'm home, so don't worry about it. Like, I'll cut in at any time. And he didn't have to do that on his vacation. He could easily say, John, sorry, bro, I'm out. Like, you got to handle this one. And he didn't. So I just want to send my thank yous on him. And he will be on his vacation, the one that's editing this and putting it all together. So I am going to go finish up my notes and my preparation, finish watching my tape, and get ready for tonight's broadcast. Me and Dean Thomas, CFFC 146. Hopefully you enjoy it. Should have some bangers. And we'll be back with you next week. I will be on the road next week. This is part of what I was working on next week as well. We'll be in Atlantic City for Next Gen 2, so if you're in the area, stop by. Otherwise, check out the second ever Next Gen matchup It will be on so CFFC, OnlyFans.com. So I got to get my brain right before I go on air. Anyway, appreciate everybody's patience, understanding, and thanks for listening.